Welcome to the EMAW Online Fast Break.
That's Keontae Johnson, in case you didn't know. We appreciate Keontae introducing the Fast Break. I'm going to host it tonight since I took the mic.
That's fine.
Mason, K-State gets a really big win tonight, beats Baylor 75-65 at Bramlage Coliseum. Big night for Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson. What did you see tonight?
Well, I saw a lot of things I liked, actually. I thought the second half against Iowa State, K-State played really well. The defense was there. The offense started to turn a corner. And tonight we saw a full 40 minutes of that. Baylor, it'll kind of shock you. You go and look. They still shot 39% from three in the game. But it felt like K-State did a really good job of defending that, made the shots really tough. Baylor's just got a ton of elite shot makers on their team. And they had a couple go that, normally you would expect not to go. But K-State was able to turn Baylor over more than what K-State did, even though it wasn't a high number. And better yet, K-State was able to turn good defense into good offense tonight. And neither of those ever slipped in the game. So I thought whenever K-State had something good defensively happen, they matched it with something good offensively. And as much as you try to match up, your good defense versus the opponent's good offense, I think you also want good defense to turn into good offense and good offense to be followed up with good defense. And it sounds simple, but it's really tough to do in basketball. I thought K-State did it tonight, and there are a lot of examples of why things were so good for them. And I just all around impressed that they were able to do that to Baylor.
Yeah, I think the best example you can come up with of good defense turning into good offense for K-State tonight is Cam Carter getting that defensive rebound, getting a quick outlet pass to our guest star on the fast break, who slams home a dunk on the other end with no one else on that side of the court for Baylor. So I think that's a really good example of it. But to me, I think the biggest takeaway from this game is Marquise Noel's ability to find a really positive impact in this game, despite not having the best scoring night. I know he ends up finishing with, 14 points, but 10 of those come at the free throw line. But his ability to dish out 10 assists, he had 3 before the first media timeout, had a couple more late in the game that were pretty impactful as well. I thought his ability to dish out 10 assists but not have a single turnover, first time this season he's done that, is really, really impressive.
Yeah, it was good for him because it's been a really tough 2.5 weeks for him with the turnover bug, and there was a lot of noise. It shouldn't have all been drifted towards Marquise Noel. There were a lot of other guys not playing well on this team or up to the level that they could. But Noel, because he has the ball mostly, because shots were falling, he was doing all this at such a high level early on, you can easily point to, Marquise isn't scoring 20 points a game anymore. Marquise is turning the ball over 6 times a game as opposed to 3 times a game. And tonight he was totally in control of everything he did. The passes from the get-go were awesome. I think K-State ended up assisting on 71% of their possessions tonight. And Marquise Noel was a big part of that, but other guys did it too. Naquan Tomlin had a nice feed early in the game to Cam Carter. I think the first 3 or 4 buckets of the game, K-State had assists on just like that. So I think Noel set the tone, and everybody else kind of rose to the level he played at tonight.
Yeah, and to go off that, Cam Carter finishes with 10 points. K-State's now 5-1 this season when he gets at least 10 points, and that's big time. When he's able to step up as their third scorer and their backcourt has that third scorer to go along with Keontae Johnson, they become so much more difficult to defend. So Cam Carter plays great tonight. Overall, I think this is one of the better games that Kansas State's played this entire season, and to be able to get this win, get 2 straight home wins before going on the road and playing at an Oklahoma State team that's now going to be pretty hungry for a win is big time.
Yep, absolutely. O-State needs it. They're coming off a tough loss to West Virginia, and you look at where the Big 12 is right now. There are 3 teams at the bottom at this point in West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech that are all kind of playing for the same thing. They're all similar records at this point in time, and each one feels like a couple wins might get them in. And K-State is a marquee win to those teams now, and that's something K-State's going to have to be wary of. So I expect probably one of the better crowds I've seen at Gallagher-Iba on Saturday, and K-State's going to have to come out and respond pretty well. But I think tonight, and the last thing I'll say is, it was good for K-State as a team to be able to have this type of performance where it can validate what took place in January, because it had been so back and forth, touch and go. You caught some teams at some lucky breaks, you felt like, in February when you got your wins, and then there were some really negative results there. But for K-State to be able to come out tonight and beat a really good Baylor team, like that number 9 next to their name is not a joke. I know they had a tough go of it in Allen Fieldhouse on Saturday in the second half, but they're the real deal. They got talented dudes left and right, and for K-State to be able to rip off back-to-back wins at this point in the season is big. And if you continue that momentum against Oklahoma State, Oklahoma next week, and then West Virginia on the road, this team, you can start to believe a lot more than you did 2 weeks ago based off of what the NCAA tournament picture would be.
Yeah, that'll be it for this edition of the EMAW Online Fast Break. Kansas State beats Baylor 75-65 at Bramlage Coliseum. Bramlage Coliseum. Make sure to subscribe to Emo Online over at Rivals for all of our content, player grades. We've got Mason's Fast Break. We're going to have feature stories coming from both Gabe and I, so make sure you do all of that before March Madness comes up, which is shortly, and spring football is going to be coming real quick. So make sure to subscribe to Emo Online.